Hey all you Viscounts, Count Remy here. Most of us have heard the saying, flying isn't dangerous, crashing is what's dangerous. But the more important question is, how far can you launch a Minecraft villager? If you want that disgusting creature as far away from you, what is the best method? And finally, can you launch it 100 blocks? 1,000? 10,000? Before we get into the topic at hand, however, please subscribe in order to maintain homeostasis. Also, a tiny percentage of you guys are subscribed, so please consider it. Now back to business. Imagine you're walking into a normal village and you interact with a villager. They give you a terrible offer and in disgust, you hit it. Well, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, you have technically launched that villager, albeit not that far. Now, after running a couple of experiments, I found that by only using your bare fist in Minecraft, you can launch a villager 3 blocks. Not that far, but we're getting somewhere. First, we should look at Minecraft rails. What if you made a tall roller coaster to launch the villager? A death coaster. If you launched a villager from world height to bedrock using power rails, how far would it go? Well, the answer might shock you. 3 blocks. What? The reason it didn't go that far is simply because the minecart almost loses all forward momentum it gained from the power rails once leaving the railway. That means it basically went straight into a vertical dive. Let's continue on our adventure of finding the farthest distance you can launch a villager by next looking at slime launchers. They literally have launch in the name, so they have to launch a villager really far, right? Well, kind of. Using a simple design with one slime block surrounded by pressure plates will only launch a villager a little more than 6 blocks in the air. In real life, that is roughly the same distance between the 3-point line to the basketball rim. That already seems really far, but we were only using a quite simple design. By using a more complex one, we will be able to launch a Minecraft villager even further. Now obviously I had to get a little help from Mumbo Jumbo's video of quick and easy slime block launchers. Link will be down in the description if you want to watch his video. I completed one of his more complex slime launchers, and the contraption launched a villager 10 blocks. Currently, this method is the farthest we've been able to launch the creature. Let's get a little crazier. How far could a villager go if he was in a boat that was sliding on ice? As we all know, boats and ice can go really, really fast. Most people use it as a source of transportation in the nether, and it also travels faster than a minecart's top speed of 8 blocks a second. So that raises the obvious question, if you launched a villager at the world height limit, how far would it go? Well, on a flat world with nothing but bedrock, I found that after achieving maximum speed by the boat, you can launch a villager an average of 64 blocks. Some launches were farther, while some were not. Moving away from boats and ice, we are now going to get explosive. Literally. We should first talk about the most annoying mob in the game, the creeper. How far would a creeper's explosion launch a villager? Before we can even attempt to answer the question, we run into a problem. The creeper's explosion will instantly kill the villager, so to get around the problem, I used a website that would create a command that gives villagers 1000 health. Link will be down in the description if you want to use it. But to answer the question, if a villager were to explode right next to a villager, the villager would be launched 3 blocks. With a charged creeper, that number goes up to 6. Applying the mostly useless end crystal, you could launch a villager 6 blocks, the same distance as a charged creeper. Speaking of creepers, if we harvested the monster's drop, gunpowder, we could make TNT, which raises another question, What if you put a villager into a traditional TNT cannon? How far would it go then? I found that a villager would be launched 14 blocks from a TNT cannon, but that is a traditional and crappy TNT cannon compared to Mumbo Jumbo's TNT cannon. This bad boy was featured in his Making the Silliest Cannons in Minecraft video, but it is far from silly and closer to deadly. After launching the cannon that seems more like a nuclear silo, the villager goes so far that it disappears out of screen. How far did it go? Simply an average of 250 blocks. That is quite impressive, and even more impressive is the villager presumably flew up higher than the world height limit, with an average height of 350 blocks. That is pretty far, but we still aren't done with our quest because we are now going to look at enchantments. Let's first look at Punch. The Punch enchantment works very similar to the Knockback enchantment, which we'll be talking about a little later. Without the enchantment, a fully charged bow can launch a villager 4 blocks, and every Punch level adds 3 blocks to the base Knockback. Capping off at Punch 2, that means in survival Minecraft, you can launch a villager up to 10 blocks with a bow. According to the official Minecraft wiki, the Punch effect will stop after level 255, meaning the farthest you could launch a villager with a punch bow is only 769 blocks. We finally end our journey with the enchantment Knockback. Just like the Punch enchantment, every Knockback level adds 3 blocks distance to the base Knockback. Unlike Punch though, we can get really crazy high with Knockback levels. And I mean it. Hypothetically, if you enchanted something with Knockback 1000, you could launch a villager 3000 blocks, a lot farther than the highest Punch level. But we can do so much better. If you were on a flat world and had a sword enchanted with Knockback level 13,358,334, you could launch a villager 40,075,000 meters, which is the same distance as the circumference of the Earth. But that number is quite small and insignificant compared to what might be the highest Knockback level, and answer to our original question, how far can you launch a Minecraft villager? To find this number, I had to use a little help from Pheonix SC's video of duplicating OP enchantments in Minecraft. Link will be down in the description. In the video, he mentions what is the best knockback level available with commands. Knockback level 2.1 trillion. Hitting a villager with that enchantment will not only crash your computer indefinitely, but will also launch that villager 6.5 trillion blocks. That distance is not only farther than the world border, but is so large the only thing comparable to that number is going to be found in space. The distance that villager would travel from a single hit of a sword is equal to the distance between the sun and the Kuiper Belt. That is so far, in fact, that it would take an average human lifespan to only mimic a fraction of the distance traveled by the villager. While that distance might seem far in the grand universe, it is only a tiny and small span. To reach the closest galaxy from our own Milky Way, Andromeda, you would have to hit the villager with your enchanted sword roughly 3.5 billion times. So to answer the original question, how far can you launch a Minecraft villager, depends on how you define the question. In general, if you want the villager as far away as possible from you without killing it, my money is on the Knockback 2.1 trillion. If you want to keep your computer alive though, then I would suggest the Mumbo Jumbo TNT cannon. If you want the villager and your computer to be alive, then just stick to your traditional punch bow or knockback sword. Either way, the villager is going to be farther away from you. And as always, thanks for watching.